The another example of the multiple item scale is the Thurston scale. Again what we have done, that is we try to judge the opinion of the individual depending upon the statements. Now these statements, depending upon the statement, we can very well say that is one person is maybe having a good attitude or carrying a say bad attitude about any particular object. So we will just see what exactly the procedure of developing the Thurston scale. So very first is that we have to collect a large number of statements, that may be as many as hundreds. So these statements may be either they may be a neutral statement, they may be positive statements, or they may be negative statement about that particular object. Now in the next phase what we have to do, that we have to sort out all these statements into three bunch, that is the statements which are favorable, statements which are neutral, and statements which are unfavorable. So based on this we have to have the statements classification based on, you can say, whether these statements are favorable or these statements are unfavorable. Now we will have some team of examiners and we try to ask the respondents to give rating to these statements. So what they have to do in this particular rating, that the most unfavorable statements we say may be categorized into with the rating 1, and the most favorable statement categorized as number 11. So likewise you find that is if I rate any particular statement as 5, so it is the statement which is to be put up into pile number 5. So likewise these examiners will rate all these statements that we have collected so far. Now once we assess these scale rating, we try to eliminate those statements where we find that is there is a difference of opinion, or what we can say that is there is a scattered rating. So in this case all those statements will be eliminated in the next phase where we have these scatter rating. Now depending upon the overall scores, will have the scale value for each of these statements. Suppose in this particular you can say scrutiny we eliminate some 50 statements. So we left out with another 50 statements with a certain scale value. Now what we will do, that out of these 50 statements again we will try to select 1 or 2 statements for these 11 piles. As I told you, that is pile 1 for the most unfavorable statement and the pile 11 is for the most favorable statement, and the pile 6 which will be the midpoint will be the neutral statement. So depending upon the nature of the statements, we take 1 or 2 statements for each of these 11 points. Okay. I will just give the example which will help you to understand that what exactly the process and where ultimately we leads. So in the next slide you can see that I have taken one example in which we try to develop the attitude of an individual about the fast foods that we have. Now here you can see that after all these process we have identified 11 different statements. So you can see the first statement is the most unfavorable statement, like as it goes like this, that is the most fast food product should be banned. So I feel that this is the most negative statement or unfavorable statement about the fast food as a product. And if you see the statement number 11, it talks about some positive qualities or favorable qualities of the fast food, that is fast foods are high on calories and also supplement essential nutrients. And again you can see the statement number 6, okay, that is I have no feeling one way or other about the fast food. So now you can see the statement number 1, 2, 3, the you can say the negative opinion has been reduced to some extent, that is the fast food adversely affecting the health, or fast food affecting the health of the future generation, that is kids. Fast foods are low in terms of nutrition and very high on fat. Okay. And again if you see the statement number like 9, that the fast foods are better than the food that we are having with the any street vendor at the or any other food outlets. Again, if you see the statement number 10, that is fast food bad for our health is a myth. So, you can see that all these 11 statements are arranged, or it is been put into different piles in terms of that the you can say the negativity or the positivity of that particular statement. Now, this is how the scale has been developed. Now, how to analyze it? Suppose if the respondent's opinion has to sort about the fast food, we will ask the respondents that whether they are agree with any of these statements. If they are agree with any of these statements, they have to speak out that they may be agree with statement number 10 or statement number 11. So, statement number 10 and 11 is a favorable statement for that particular object. In this case, that particular object is a fast food. It means the person is having a very favorable attitude toward the fast food. Some other person who may be negative about the fast food as a concept or as a product, he may be like try to go with statement number 1 and 3. So, statement number 1, as it is indicate that the fast food should be banned, and statement number 3 is that it is affecting the health of the future generation, that is the kids. So, the agreement with statement number 1 and 3 indicates that the person is having negative opinion. So, depending upon the agreement with any of these statements, we can judge that whether the person is having positive or negative attitude about that particular object. Again, more important part in this case is that we are able to quantify the concept, that is attitude. So, that is what has been required in case of if you want to use it for a further analysis where we are using some statistical or mathematical tool. Now, but the disadvantage of this particular you can say the Thurston scale may be like, suppose if I am agreeing with statement number 3 and statement number 8. So, this agreement with statement number 3 and statement number 8 is that I am not having any fixed opinion. At some point it is positive, at some point it is negative. So, I have not formed any conclusive opinion about the fast food as a product. So, these all are the scales which is being used for getting the different attitudinal information about the maybe that object may be related to any particular product, that may be any particular idea, that may be any particular concept, or it may be organization. As we can see, that is there are n number of options are open to assess the attitude of an individual. So, we have to select that which option is the best for judging the attitude of an individual. You have to make a choice depending upon the characteristics we want to explore through this particular test. So, my researcher friend and my student friends will certainly see the application and the utility of these type of scale and select any of these scale for their research work. So, our discussion on the attitude measurement scale ends so here. So, I thank you so much for your patience listening.